Hey, welcome back. Today we're diving into All Souls, episode 17 of season 5. Debuting April 26, 1998, All Souls features Mulder and Scully investigating the mysterious deaths of young girls, and Scully being thrust into a divine battle between good and evil. You know, whenever they do a more religious-focused episode, they always give the music this gentle hymn-like quality. It sort of feels like something that you'd hear during Mass. The episode begins with a young disabled girl being baptized. Now generally, kids are baptized when they're babies, so I'm wondering why her parents waited until she was older. It's not uncommon for older people to get baptized, but her parents seem like the religious type and likely would have done it earlier. Anyways, things take a weird turn when our highly disabled young girl is suddenly able to walk. Hey, maybe she was healed by Samuel. Oh wait, I think she's a little old for him. The girl's father wakes up because generally his wheelchair-bound daughter doesn't walk out the front door. I don't know, man, something tells me that's not Jesus. This young girl just got the life zapped out of her and her father barely reacts. Also, this is a little heavy-handed. Like, alright, I get the symbolism. Seeing as how this appears to be religious-focused, we know this is going to be a Mulder-heavy episode. Oh yeah, I forgot all about Scully's daughter. I mean, that was so long ago, you'd think she would have moved on by now. Scully enters the confessional, but what sin could she have possibly committed? Bless me, Father, for I thought a buck-toothed sheriff was cute.
An innocent girl is dead because of me.
Okay, maybe that's a little more severe than a crush on a cute boy. So what, did Scully shoot her or something? Anyways, we go back a week in time as Father McHugh asks Scully for a moment of her time. Yes, the same Father McHugh that tried helping Scully with her whole cancer thing. Their father drops on her the young girl that died in the beginning and thought that Scully might be able to help the family. Not really sure what she's supposed to do considering it just looked like the young girl was struck by lightning.
I persuaded Lance 6 years ago to adopt. First, he was reluctant to accept a special needs child, but...
Well, that explains why they didn't baptize her when she was a child. The mother then goes on about how her husband questions why something like this would happen to a young girl. Why God would allow something like this to happen, which is a fair question. But I'm not going to pretend like I have any answers, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Scully relates to this considering what happened with Emily. I mean, the poor girl didn't do anything, but I wouldn't blame God with that one. That was more the government and aliens. Scully talks to the woman who prepared the body, and she's convinced this girl was literally struck down by God, like divine intervention with a body count. Weirdly, there's no real trauma to the body, other than the whole missing eyes thing, which is kind of a big deal, I guess. Oh, and apparently the girl used to have an extra finger, but it was surgically removed. Scully decides she needs to dig into this young girl's life prior to being adopted. But uh-oh, an upside-down cross? Clearly this guy's evil. This Father Gregory is about to adopt a young girl with 6 fingers, which is weird and kind of coincidental, when he's stopped by an Aaron Starkey from Social Services.
I'm here to take the girl home. I'm sorry, Father, but you'll have to wait until I can get the paperwork in order.
It's probably for the best that he doesn't get the young girl. I mean, upside down cross? Hello, evil. Scully's looking over the photos of the young girl, and yeah, way to make it hard on yourself, Scully. Mulder returns a call from Scully because she needs his help in digging into the background of this young girl. Mulder's like, sure, I can get you some records. I'm just following a possible suspect. Suspect of what exactly, Mulder? Anyhow, at the psychiatric center, Father Gregory returns. But why was this door just left unlocked? So he's an angel? An angel who steals people's eyes? It is strange that this girl is also an exact twin of the previous victim, right down to the extra digit. Mulder comes in with a folder on the first victim, and it turns out the girl was one of 4 quadruplets. Now, I'm not a fancy sandwich artist, but will quadruplets all share the same ailments or disabilities, or is this something more divine?
Was this a cross found like this?
Yes, as far as I know. Why?
It's inverted. Protest the sacrilege against the church.
That's not actually what that means, but sure, whatever you say, Mulder. Scully obviously thinks there's something more divine to this case, but in classic Mulder fashion, he's become Mr. Skeptical.
Skeptical.
Social worker Aaron Starkey walks in and is immediately grilled by Scully. He tells her the cross likely wasn't the girl's, but she was just about to be adopted before her death. Surely only the most righteous and loving person of faith would step up in a moment like this.
J. Apocryphal.
I think they're being watched by Fluffy from Creepshow. Father Gregory says he was just trying to adopt the girl to protect her, which sounds noble, but I'm not sure Mulder's buying it. Then things get even sketchier. He claims to know who gave birth to the girls, but when Scully asks for a name, he goes full politician mode. Instead of answering, he launches into a story about being her confessor, which he uses as a means of deflecting the question, I guess.
You put your own lives in danger, as well as the lives of the messengers. I have nothing more to say.
Okay, but what about the person you're keeping in the box? Do they have something to say? So Mulder doesn't really believe anything the father said. He doesn't even believe there's anything supernatural about this case. He tells Scully that if she autopsies the body of the girl, she'll discover the same thing for herself. So Scully does exactly that. And you're telling me there's nothing supernatural about this? Not only does Scully see her daughter, but the dead girl sure is awfully twitchy.
Mommy, please.
Come on, can we stop traumatizing poor Scully, please? Scully tells the priest that she was supposed to see Emily because it will help her save the girls, somehow. I don't really understand the logic. Anyways, Mulder may have a lead on the third sister who's apparently just walking around, which really shouldn't be possible. Scully also tells Mulder about strange bony growths on the girl's clavicle, which are definitely not angel wings, because that would be very silly.
But I swear I found evidence of something wing-like.
Well, then maybe she flew here, Scully.
Not silly enough for Scully, I guess. No time for wing discussion because it looks like Father Gregory's after the third girl. What the hell is that? Mulder finds Father Gregory, but the girl is already dead. Do you think Mulder will suspect something spooky is going on now? Mulder mocks Father Gregory's prayer for the girl's soul, which I understand, because, well, he did kill them. But what's interesting is Mulder's ability to not believe in anything related to religion. Scully can call him up about a haunted doll, and he's all in. Scully tells him about some divine power, and it's all mockery.
What does this mean, Father?
I know that's not supposed to make me laugh, but the way he says it cracks me up. Scully accurately explains what the inverted cross means, which is the cross of St. Peter. St. Peter was crucified upside down because he felt he was unworthy to be crucified in the same manner as Jesus. What confuses me just a little bit is why Scully didn't correct Mulder earlier when he said the inverted cross meant a protest or sacrilege against the church. She obviously knows what it really means and could have actually'd Mulder. Father Gregory claims he's trying to save the girls, but I don't know. This really does look like him. Mulder tells Scully they found the fourth girl, but before they leave, Father Gregory tells her that if he isn't freed, then she'll die. Father, you're currently 0 for 3 right now. I don't think you being freed is gonna make any difference.
I saw Emily. She came to me in a vision.
Instead of trying to understand where Scully's coming from, considering all the insane things they've seen over the years, Mulder suggests that maybe she should step away from the case, and then he hits her with the funniest line in the episode, when he says her personal issues are affecting her objectivity. Dude, your entire career is built around your personal issues. How many times have you stepped in shit looking for what happened to your sister, but Scully sees her dead daughter one time, and she's the one who's been compromised? What?
Father Gregory. Where is she, Father?
Hey, what's he doing here? I'm starting to think maybe Father Gregory was right. Mulder makes his way to the adoptive home of the fourth girl, but the girl is nowhere to be found.
Where is she, Mr. Dyer? Where is she? Where are they?
I see Mulder went with the Batman School of Detective Work. Turns out the father of this girl is super classy. Not only did he lock his disabled daughter in the basement like she's some kind of monster, but he allowed his daughter to be taken away by Father Gregory while he still collected her disability checks. Someone give this man Father of the Year. Did Scully even see the dead Father Gregory? She was trying to get into the room when he was killed, and the next time we see her walking to her car, it's super casual.
Father Gregory. They found him alone in the interrogation room. No one can figure it out.
Okay, well at least she knows. Scully drops her keys, but who the hell is that?
Scully!
What in the Rankin and Bass claymation is going on here? Scully speaks with Father McHugh again, who I think was hoping maybe Scully had some answers as to who killed the first girl. Instead, she tells him she saw Emily and something with 4 heads.
Is this what you saw? It's a seraphim, an angel.
Sorry, Father, for I'm about to correct you, but that's a cherubim. A cherubim is an angel with 4 faces: lion, ox, eagle, and human. A seraphim is an angel with 6 wings, 2 covering its face, 2 covering its feet, and 2 for flight. Now, obviously, I knew all of this stuff offhand, and definitely not because I looked up a YouTube video with 1.1 million views. Anyway, the good father goes on to tell a story about the seraphim. We'll go with his version, knocking up a human woman, resulting in 4 children called the Nephilim. Now, I always thought the Nephilim were supposed to be giants, but here they're basically treated as forbidden abominations that never should have existed. And yes, that means these 4 disabled girls are being framed as cosmic mistakes, abominations in the eyes of God, apparently. I don't think that was the intention of the writers, but man, that's kinda how it plays. This seraphim was sent down to claim the souls of these Nephilim before they could be claimed by the devil. The funniest part is when Scully asks the father if that's what she saw, he's like, nah, that was probably just your imagination. There's something seriously wrong when even the priest thinks you're a little loopy.
Trying to reach me for what?
The 4th girl. She's at Father Gregory's church. Come on, I'll drive you.
Watch out, Scully, he's a soulless ginger. Oh right, I keep forgetting. It is pretty funny that they made the ginger the devil. Aaron drives Scully back to Father Gregory's church in search of the girl, but that's an interesting shadow. Scully finds the girl, but the whole time she was looking, Aaron was just shouting, "Agent Scully, did you find her?" Like, I don't know, man, have you tried getting off your ass and looking too?
Just stay here. It's gonna be okay.
Bring her out to me.
Mommy, let me go.
I don't know what the hell is going on, but the girl just turned into Emily, and Satan Boy just keeps shouting. Well, does Scully get accused of this murder now? Can't exactly pin this one on Father Gregory. I'd love to know what happened to Mulder too, because he sort of just disappeared from the rest of the episode.
You believed you were releasing her soul to heaven.
I felt sure of it.
All Souls is fine. I wouldn't call it a bad episode, but like a lot of the religious themed ones, it kind of falls flat. There's just something about the way the X-Files handles this subject matter. It always feels either too on the nose, or it turns Mulder into a huge skeptic that throws off the balance. For a show that can make aliens, liver monsters, and giant worms feel grounded, the religious episodes often feel oddly clunky, like they're not quite sure what tone to strike. I do appreciate that the writers are at least trying to give Scully a moment to grieve, to find some kind of closure after losing Emily. Up until now, Emily's barely been mentioned, like the whole thing just quietly slipped out of continuity. But this episode feels like their way of wrapping it all up. It's Scully confronting the loss, processing her grief, and ultimately being told both by the plot and the show that it's time to move on. And yeah, I think this is the last time Emily is ever really brought up. Maybe there's a passing line somewhere down the road that I'm forgetting, but for the most part, All Souls really feels like the end of that storyline. A quiet little exit for a story that was already halfway out the door. The episode also raises one of those big, impossible questions. Why does God allow bad things to happen to good people? Why would a divine, all-knowing, all-loving being let those young girls suffer? It's the kind of question that's way above my pay grade, and I'm definitely not the person to try and answer it. But I think it's worth pointing out, even if the episode itself doesn't offer any real resolution. The whole thing also ends on a bit of a vague note. Scully asks the big question if God has his reasons for letting this happen, and Father McHugh responds with something like, "It's how he rewards our faith." Which, okay, it's a comforting sentiment, sure, but it doesn't really answer anything. It's more of a spiritual shrug, the kind of line that sounds profound until you think about it too long, and maybe that's the point, that some things are just unknowable. All Souls actually started off as a very different episode. The original concept came from Billy Brown and Dan Angel, who were story editors on the show before they left around Christmas '97. They had a version involving Mulder, Scully, and Angels, but it never quite came together. So the script got passed to John Sheban and Frank Spotnitz, who reworked the entire thing, and that's when they decided to tie it back into the Emily storyline. That rewrite shifted the focus squarely onto Scully, turning this into kind of an unofficial part 3 to the Christmas Carol / Emily two-parter. It's all about her grappling with loss, faith, and the very personal fallout of what happened with her daughter. When the writers saw the first cut of the episode, they realized Scully's emotional arc wasn't quite coming through, So She-Ban and Spotnitz wrote a new confessional scene where she lays it all out in a church, and then they had to cut time from the rest of the episode scene by scene just to make room for it. The priest she confesses to, that's actually J.P. Finn, a Vancouver-based producer on the show. He stepped into the role to help secure the church location for the shoot. He'd popped up once before as a chaplain in season 3's The List, but fun fact, he never actually filmed with Gillian Anderson. Their scenes were shot separately because of scheduling. Speaking of schedules, Gillian Anderson was originally given just a couple pages for that confessional scene, but the night before filming, the script ballooned to over 5 pages. Gillian, who usually just powers through, actually called the higher-ups and said, "Yeah, this isn't gonna happen tomorrow, I need more time." And to give credit where credit's due, they delayed filming a day so she could properly prep. The visual effects for the seraphim, you know, the floating multi-headed angel thing, were cooked up with CGI and apparently just barely made it on time. Visual effects supervisor Laurie Calson-George finished the whole thing just hours before the episode aired. They shot an actor wearing a lion mask as a reference, then filmed the other head separately on a green screen and stitched the whole thing together. They also layered in some glowing effects to make it feel more heavenly, or at least spooky. And look, I get what they were going for, but there's something about the final effect that feels less like a divine messenger of God, and more like something you'd see introducing a claymation Christmas special. The role of all 4 girls in All Souls was played by Canadian actress Emily Perkins. While she didn't appear elsewhere in the X-Files, obviously, her Ginger Snaps co-star Catherine Isabel did. She showed up earlier in season 5 in Schizogyny, aka the one with the killer trees and the world's most suspicious therapist. It's kind of awesome that both actresses made solo appearances on the X-Files, only to then later team up for Ginger Snaps, a proudly Canadian cult classic full of werewolves, teen angst, and some seriously grisly practical effects. If you're Canadian and love horror, that movie is basically required viewing. And if Emily Perkins looked familiar even before all that, she also played young Beverly Marsh in the original It miniseries from 1990. So yeah, she's been creeping us out, or making us cry since she was a kid. Also, even though Father Gregory died, I'm gonna say he deserved it. Because look at this! That bastard stole Queequeg! I always knew he was evil! All Souls currently sits at 7.2 on IMDb. I'm honestly a little surprised it's this high, and I'm thinking maybe around a 6. I don't hate it, and I've definitely watched it many times, but it's not a favorite. Up next, Mulder gets a little in over his head when he becomes embroiled with a domestic terrorist group in the episode, The Pine Bluff Variant. So what do you think of All Souls? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you're having a great day and stay spooky!
Sunday on an all-new episode.
It appears that their eyes were burnt out.
What kind of a creature collects human souls?
There are good and evil forces in the world.
Stop right there!
The first of the all-new Big May Final 4 episodes.
Where is she?
We're too late.
The X-Files, Sunday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.